What is going on, guys? Celso Oliveira here, section 128. This is Los Angeles and LAFC podcast. I got my Liverpool gear here, as you can see, as I should be, as I should have. We did get to play Chelsea today, which was a lot of fun to watch. We'll be breaking down this game, but shout out to the guys at Fugazi for letting us, play that song you just heard. It's a good vibe. It gets me going. So thanks to Eric and those guys at Fugazi, we got a good soundtrack for our show. But look, we're here with Fernando again. Fernando is here to help us break down LAFC Chelsea. And it's great to have you back. Great to have you, Eric, as well, out of Oklahoma City, which I know they're playing the NBA Finals right now.
Hey, technically this is Edmond, birthplace of Daryl DK.
Oh my God! Look at you going very deep in the encyclopedia of soccer. But whatever happened to that guy, man?
He's healthy again. He's missed like 2 years of hamstring injury.
I know it's been tough for him.
Maybe if he can stay healthy, he's that guy. But
He's a home product, buddy. But yeah, I know, we got also going on here, and we have it on another view here. What is the other game of LAFC's group? LAFC, of course, played Chelsea today, but Flamengo is playing the Tunisian team. I believe you said in Philadelphia, right, Eric? So
yep.
Games all over the United States, which is fun to see. I think it's important for people to get to see these different teams, and this World Cup has given us that. But look, before we go into anything else and about the group or the Club World Cup, I'm gonna open to you, Eric. Let me know what happened about this game. Did you watch it? Were you at your office? And your first thoughts about this loss 2-0 to Chelsea?
I made sure that I took an extra long lunch break today to watch this game, and I watched it from start to finish. And really, at the end of it, because we were all kind of chatting anyways during the game, but. Yeah. To summarize, I just felt super proud of our team. They gave a game to Chelsea. And if you look down, who is Chelsea? 7 players on Chelsea have a higher salary than our entire team combined, and then the next 4, all the way up to 11 players, are within $1 million of our entire team budget. So this was truly a David versus Goliath. I told myself, I was like, this will probably be like a 4-0 loss. It's a mammoth team. And so to see us basically be in that game all the way to the 80th minute and stand up with them, we gave them a game. We got some attacks in. We had some chances ourselves, and a team like that punishes you for any mistake you made. And we avoided some of them, but they punished us on 2 of them, and so, man, happy to be a black and gold fan. Very proud of my team. 2-0 loss is a great result just to see how we stack up, and a lot of fight, man.
A lot of fight. I think the team looked like they were ready and they wanted to show up and show off in the world stage. Fernando, did you watch the game, and what were your thoughts about the loss? Are you a glass half full or glass half empty on this? You still took 2-0, and the shooting favored Chelsea tremendously. You had a couple of chances that could have gone your way, but overall a complete mismatch, right?
Right. Well, I'm on holiday. I'm all traveling, and I was watching it poolside. So just to rub it in for all you folks in LA. Look, we actually talked about this back before the America game, right? That a best case scenario was LAFC coming out with 4 points out of this group. We all knew Chelsea was going to be the big shocker because of the beginning. Mm-hmm. I am the glass half full because the defense, as Eric mentioned, 2-0 was a good game because LA actually had a couple of really good chances and missed them, and that cost the second goal, right? Mm-hmm. LAFC had a couple of chances to go 1-1, missed them, hurried balls, bad passes, what have you, nerves, bad shooting, but they had it for the 1-1. I'm glad that the defense held I think in the first 30 minutes, during the chat, I posted that it was about minus 35 possession for LAFC in the first 25, 30 minutes of the game. But still, held on and held Chelsea back. For what we can say is the defense held, because this could have been a 4-0, a 5-0. I said it in the chat, a 1-1 game at the half would be good. And don't let Chelsea, start attacking as they can. The thing that I will take from the game and bring it back from the America game is the bench. LAFC didn't have anybody that could come off the bench and help them get back to the 1-1, help them, save up the 2-0. And this is Dolo's big challenge. Is like he showed he wasn't a great statistician at the beginning of the first half, and then brings in Giroud in the second half. Nothing happens. A few mistakes. Who is he going to bring from the bench? He's got Javido now. I hope that he gets to play against Tunis.
Yeah, and I thought Giroud coming off the bench was a little bit of a difference, gave us a little bit of an edge. Of course, nobody wanted, big game Ordaz to get hurt in a weird manner like he did, and that destabilized the game plan. Eric, anything you can say about the attacking three? I think they were given a good assignment and a tough assignment, and did pretty good given the circumstances. And like you guys said, they were playing some of the best defenders in the world.
I didn't like the front three. I would have loved to see an Ordaz, Martinez, Bouanga front three, because I think all of our chances are in the counter attack. I mean, I don't see, Ebobasi. I just see a lot more from those guys, and I would like to see our best group out there. So,
and you didn't feel like we had it, huh?
Yeah, and so now the question is going to be, will Ordaz be healthy for next game, or is he going to miss Tunis? And so now we're missing Ordaz, who's been really key to our attack this season.
Sure.
We're a different team when he's not on the field than when he is on the field. And so that's going to be a big question. If he's out for that game, then we really need him 100% for Flamengo to have any chance to go through this. So, Ebobasi was a little up and down today. And since it was a 0-2, I feel like I can criticize individual performance more. If it was a blowout, to be on the team. So, that's kind of a benefit when I talk about who could do better at what, that at least if it was worse than a 2-0, I couldn't even say it,
Yeah, I look, the problem with this argument is that the attacking volume that Chelsea provided was way bigger than anything we've seen. So they just didn't have their boots right? But it felt to me, Fernando, like you said, this could have been easily a 5-6-0 game just because of how strong they were coming, and LAFC didn't really have an answer for it. So that was kind of my criticism with the tournament a little bit. As a fan of LAFC, you do everything right, but you seem limited by, a guy like Ryan Hollinshead, which is probably paying at the most that he can give us, dude. But it's not enough against some of these guys, right? So does it take some away from this tournament for any of you guys? I'll go with you.
Sorry, if I could
go ahead.
cut in. Sorry, but these are tournaments, and Eric and I were talking about the previous format, right? Whether it was Dubai, the previous 2-3 formats, right? Where the UEFA teams came in toward the third stage, right? And so you played differently because it was a one match goal. You either won that match and you advanced, or you went home. Right, yes. Right. These games, I'm not really upset with Dolo with what he did with the 11. But that raises the expectation for the game against Tunis, because he really has to be very tactical against Tunis. He needs to guard that 0-0 and needs to go all out at the last 15 minutes like he did with America to get that 1-0 at best scenario, right? With this game, the bench limits his ability or his tactics against a big team like Chelsea. Like you said, it's attacking. I saw some good handling where LAFC kept Chelsea in the middle third of the field for a while. But also, I made the comment right before, like 2 plays before the second goal, where the 3 defenders for LAFC did not play the offside, and the Chelsea forward got the ball fully onside when, it developed a foul after that. And I'm like, how could all 3 of you be looking at one player and not make him offside right away? So it shows you that there's something going on in the training and the planning and the tactics, because in a professional team, in a high-ranking team, that's an offside play. You're not in front of the guy. You're always behind the last man from the opposite team. So these things tell us either the guys were a little bit off, their heads were a little bit off, they were nervous, because I can't believe that Dolo doesn't practice this. Yeah,
you had to be somewhat nervous. I do believe it. And then you saw some resilience from the team. 40 minutes, nothing happens, and then Pedro Neto finds a goal that was a beautiful pass, a through pass behind Ryan Hollins. Said we've seen this issue with LAFC before. When he goes high, which we need for his offensive prowess, he leaves a hole in the back and exposes LAFC. So Eric, what do you have to say about that first goal, the hole, and then the cut, the major cut and score by Pedro Neto?
The play was already over when it got to that point. Against a team like Chelsea, I think looking at how we were defending in transition isn't necessarily the criticism. I think giving them the ball so easily into transition. And I think with this, because I didn't really see the Ordaz injury. I maybe it was a little before that, but that to me came from a Tillman pass to Ordaz, I believe. And Ordaz waited for the ball to come to him instead of going up to get the ball. And so it got intercepted and turned into a transition moment. And I think it was a 3-on-3. And from that 3-on-3, they basically isolated one-on-one Hollingshead. And at that point, like Ryan Hollingshead, who I think had a great game, the Chelsea forwards are just so good, just like the Flamengo forwards, that the mistake was the giveaway. And after that, the quality of that team was just too much to expect our guys to basically be superheroes at that point. We do not have Virgil van Dijk back there, or Trent Van Arnold. You know what I mean? Like these are.
That's when you see it. It really is.
Yeah,
that was my tweet.
And dude, let me finish.
Everything that people asked him to.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We knew mistakes would be punished by Chelsea, and the mistake was the Tillman pass, and it was Ordaz not stepping up to take the pass and waiting for the pass to come to him. That was the mistake that cost us. Everything after that was everybody doing their best, but we were just outgunned.
Yeah, they tried. Now, Fernando, like the thing, then there's a little bit of the mouthing, right, from the Chelsea player, from Pedro, towards Denis Bouanga, which might have been talking, right? Say, hey, look, we're in this game. It's not that easy. And it seems like Pedro Neto talked back. And at the half, I don't know if you were watching. It seems like you're watching from a cool joint. But there was a little bit of a scuffle between the two teams. And, with Denis and them talking and mouthing each other. Did you see that? What did you make of, perceived lack of respect for the MLS side from the Chelsea players?
I mean, it's good from my point of view, because it forces the LAFC to step up and get a little bit of heat in them and get a little bit of, cojones to go up against these guys. Totally. And yet from the LAFC, it showed that they were not going to be, trampled on and allow these big, I think it was Ivan that posted, the Chelsea's $1 billion team against a $46 million team. But then the Chelsea player at the end of the interview, I saw the video, he just said, oh, no, this is just part of the game, blah, blah, blah. It is part of the game to get into the other people, into the other team's head, right? For one or the other. This is tactics. When you're outmanned, you got to get. How many yellow cards were there in this game?
And that's a great point, because I will look this up for you guys as you finish your point, because one of the greatest things I noticed from the first half, at the very least, is that LAFC had just only a handful of fouls. So it was playing a very passive brand of football. But I'll look that up for you.
But then again, it's the first stage, it's the first game, it's the hardest game, and you don't want to get 5-6 guys on yellows already, because then they're not going to play the third game. They're not going to play the third match. And really, realistically, you were really going after the points in the second and the third match, right? Realistically talking here, you were going for the points against Tunis, and the point, hoping for Flamengo to get a 5-0 against Tunis, right? So that Tunis has no chance. You going against Flamengo for a draw, and you beating Tunis 1-0, 2-1, whatever. LAFC needs 4 points no matter what, and you want Chelsea to beat Flamengo nasty, 3-0, 3-0. So the hesitation. I'm not mad at LAFC for not playing dirty, right? Because they need to preserve those yellow cards for the next 2 matches. But the fact that there was this exchange, this bad mouthing between the two teams, it's good. It's good football. It means the LAFC players were getting into the other guys' heads, and the other guys saw that they were not going to be pushing around this MLS team.
Yeah, and they didn't. Although, like, if you look at the statistics here, I just pulled it up. Let's really talk about it. There's only 2 big chances for Chelsea against one of LAFC. Denis Bouanga could have scored. He had a clear chance at the goalkeeper. You call it a great save or misfortune from him. He kind of fell on the play. That's challenging. But what I liked about LAFC from a defensive standpoint, at the very least, is that, Chelsea had 17 shots, right? But they were only really 2 great chances. They capitalized on both. Eric said it, you know what I mean? They're lethal guys, right? Once they go in position, they're going to be lethal. Aggressiveness, like I said, 11 fouls for each side. That's where I felt like, maybe you could have gone in there and, being a little bit more malicious. Eric, did you feel like the team was a little bit too soft in their defensive stance? We focused so much in the offensive side of the ball, but, what did you think of the defense? They didn't concede much.
No, I thought the defense was super clean today, honestly. There was a couple opportunities where Chelsea was right around the outside of the box, and they were kind of making gains. And I remember thinking to myself, like, please don't give up a free kick right here. And, because a lot of times they do, but our defenders didn't give up any free kicks in dangerous spots like that.
Correct.
Even there was a couple in the box as well that I was like, you're waiting to see the guy go down after a hack, and then that's that. But the LAFC guys didn't do it. So their defending, I thought, was super clean, and they did what they needed to do. And they didn't play scared that whole game. There was a little thing like the Martinez yellow, for example, was one there. There's
I got
good,
nervous.
There's good.
God,
I did too. I thought he was going to get a second, but
I thought he was going to get a second too.
And with Ordaz out, that would be a catastrophe for our next round.
Yeah, and you could see it happening from a young guy, right? You're like, oh no, here it comes. He's just going to fall victim to these way bigger, more experienced guys.
Martinez needs to get better at picking up yellow cards. Like, one guy I love, Musovski, he would pick up a lot of yellows. But his yellows, he would like take a chunk out of the guy.
They were defensive marking yellows. Like Chicharronga was a little bit like that as well.
Yeah, and some of his were just
play, some
were just pressing.
Play.
Yeah, it was like he would just take a chunk out of the guy and get a yellow, even with like 5 minutes left in the game. Like, those are great yellows to take because, like, he'd hurt the other guy. I mean, not maliciously put him out, but like a bit of a love tap. Like Martinez is. He doesn't, there's no meat in that bone, It's like, if he's going to get a yellow, like he got his yellow by being baited in by Cucurella. And, it's like, you don't want to take a yellow like that. Like, shoving a guy and watching them flop and then you pick up the yellow is just like, you got to be smarter.
So, it goes to you, Fernando. Like, I think the biggest winner of this game to me has been Aaron Long. He really, I've said this so many times, it's almost old. He is a guy that I think should be back with the national team. You see Zimmerman, you see everyone around him get recycled. And there he was against Chelsea. It looked great. Definitely make you wonder if he has a chance with the national team since there's just so much chat around him. And he's been such a good captain for us. But any other standouts for you, Fernando, and then I'll go to you, Eric.
You're muted, Fernando. You're muted.
Darn it. The whole team did the good job. The midfield did their best, keeping, like I mentioned, keeping that ball in the middle third. I'll go back. I'll go back to my comments from the America game. It's like this team needs a coach that develops the players, that helps them move. I mean, just think about it. You guys follow individual players, and just think from the end of last season to the beginning of the season to today. Which player, other than Ordaz, have you seen evolve, develop in their position, or be able to transition to other positions where LAFC is lacking? What was that?
1-0
Go Flamengo. 17th minute. De Arrascaeta makes it 1-0 Flamengo. I have it here in our broadcast as well.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Here we go.
No. That's good.
No. We're doing kind of like a mashed live
right.
Flamengo view and with our show, because they're our group and we want to know what happens. Right. But yeah, go ahead and finish up, Fernando, and then Eric, your standout.
I mean, these players, the next coach, and hopefully it's after this, in this month or July, JTFO says, thank you, Dolo. We're bringing a coach because we can't finish off the season like this. And I hope that coach looks at the talent that there is on the starting 11 and helps develop it the rest of the season, because that's what this team needs. You got to forget about Giroud. I mean, retired guys, they're not going to learn anything. They're not going to evolve. That's it. But Boanga, Ordaz, Long, Valencia, these players, they need development. You cannot allow these players to stagnate like this, and the team needs it. And we as fans need it, because we know we have a tight ass FO. We know we're not going to get the $10 million defender. We know we're not going to get the $15, $20 million forward, right? So we need a coach that's going to develop these players for our gain, not just to put them up in the market and make more money for the FO. We really need, the last half of this season, we really need a coach that develops 2-3 players, improves their abilities, and gets us to the playoffs.
Well, that's my concern with Smoliakov. He's like, well, the FO's been trying. They brought Omar last year. This year they brought Smoliakov, but still it's good old Ryan Hollinshead playing there, and honestly he's been better than any of these guys, so it's hard to justify getting him out. But Eric, any other standouts from the team that you can think of? I gave you mine. I thought it was Aaron Long. A lot of people were saying Tillman, but who's your guy for this game?
Oh man, it's your man, Igor Jesus.
Okay.
So many times in this game I saw him just being so calm on the ball and absorbing pressure from multiple Chelsea midfielders trying to take the ball off him and moving it out and passing the ball. He was very tidy with it, made some great stops and some great blocks. And he was just kind of the guy that he could hold the ball. He was
great, like a reference in that midfield now. It's
totally,
so interesting to see how he plays and the
they could give him the ball give him in tight spaces, and he didn't lose it. So to do that against a team at that level, I've always said on our whole team, he's the one player that probably has the toolbox now that he could go play in Europe and not be turned into a fool. And I think I saw more of that today, that how calm he was under pressure from Chelsea players and was successful all day. So he's my standout for sure, but he's been a standout all year.
End up getting subbed out, 62 touches, 1 key pass. So that big chance that you saw, I believe, was his creation. So and again, I'm just going off Sofa Scores sheets right now, but should us have scored, and it had to be the Niboanga chance, he would have come out of this with a stat, with an assist, right? So he's starting to become that dual threat player, which we've talked about, right? He's a great defender, but now can he influence the game forward? And we're starting to see that with his long balls. I mean, great choice. I love it. That's why he's in the back there. Biggest loser. I'll start with you, Fernando. You kind of hinted that you did not like Dolo and how he came out and his adjustments. So if you had to make one biggest loser out of this, again, the biggest winner for me was Long. But who's the biggest loser of this loss, 0-2, though harmless and, like you said, somewhat rosy?
I mean, tactics. I didn't see Dolo moving the pieces around. I didn't see him with any urgency. He let the players play the game. He let them come out with their skills and held on. And like everybody says, they did their job, right? They held on. They kept Chelsea. We didn't want another PSG game, right? Or Bayern game. And it would have been embarrassing for the MLS as well, right? But Dolo, I don't understand what's going on. He's not coming out of his shell. He's just, every time I was watching the game and the cameras went on him, he's just sitting around, chit-chatting and this and that, looking around. This is why it's dangerous to keep him after this tournament. This is why it's dangerous to keep him any longer. And I hope that he sees that he had this strategy on his mind where Flamengo and Tunis are our games, and we got to come out and we got to do this and we got to put out our best. And I hope that he learns from this game and he goes all out against Tunis from the next match. Strategically speaking, the bench, we're only going to have Javairo being the new piece on the bench is Javairo, right?
Yes.
I would start him. Believe it or not, I would start him against Tunis on the wing
today. I thought that was odd.
Right. He's ready. I mean, he played against LAFC, right? He played in the game against LAFC. He's fit. He's fit. In rhythm.
He's definitely game fit. And with an injury to one of your forwards and down a man, this is kind of the time to let it rip. Right. But again, do you want to do that and get scored 2 more goals if it doesn't work out? Now it's 4-0 versus 2. Pragmatic Dolo will never accept that fate. So he's going to lose by 2-0. For him. And it's a little bit of fool's gold, right? Right. But you can make the argument that's a good coach for a team that's going to perennially have a weaker roster against bigger teams, right? So in a sense, Dolo's auditioning, isn't he, Eric, for a bigger job, whether it's in Germany, whether it's for the United States men's national team, if things derail here. He's in a sense auditioning for the big clubs. What do you give Dolo as a grade, and any negative standouts from this game for you, buddy?
I feel like this we kind of got Dolo ball here today, and I think like Dolo ball is meant to be played against bigger teams than it is smaller teams. So, like I said, I've just been coming to realize that I think MLS is just not the right fit because teams who play defensively are punished because of the roster structure, and you end up having attackers worth 10 times the value running at defenders worth 1/10 of them. And so there's a mismatch, just like our guys against Chelsea. But Dolo ball kind of tries to equalize that. So the tactics for me, anything to keep us a 2-0 loss to Chelsea, I'm not going to go too much on it, I think. But Fernando has good points on that.
It's really hard to judge him in this scenario with the disadvantages.
Yeah, if anything, the starting lineup I would kind of pick out a little bit. I think it could have been a little stronger. And I have two players I think didn't play as well as we would hope, which is one is Abobasi. Abobasi was pretty quiet, and his hold-up play was rough. He gave the ball away a lot, which he has a tough job, but it just didn't seem to work. The other one was Delgado. Delgado had his good moments, but Delgado gave away like 3 passes with no pressure on him, and he just basically passed it away. And this against a team like Chelsea, like you just can't do that. If nobody is pressuring you, you should not put a bad pass out there, like 100%. Just hold the ball and take another step and look for something better to open up, So that was my 2 performances. I mean, even Tillman, who gave away the pass, I thought his game off the ball was just really critical today, like so much so that any poor thing, he did try to make a forward pass towards the end of the game, which he never does in regular season, instantly picked off. But his work rate off the ball was good. I like Tillman's performance, so I usually bag on him, but not today.
Yeah, no, I thought he was great. And
the one
I was
thing
going to say
also-
mine real quick, Fernando, before I let you go.
Yep.
Mine is Denis Bouanga, honestly. I think people really should look at him and criticize his performance. It wasn't great. He had a chance to score, did not score. He talked smack and did not back it up, right? You got to be able to back it up if you're going to talk smack to some of the best players in the world. And then you had a chance to score on a great pass, and you didn't. So, again, if we're going to win, it's because he's going to be brilliant. And you saw today that against a good defense, he looks pedestrian. He looks just like a great attacker from Europe. And that's why I think he's always should stay in MLS and become like a Gignac, Fernando. But go ahead. You had something you were going to say. And I just wanted to register that I thought we could have had a different outcome if big balls Bouanga would have showed up.
Right. No. Yeah, but, I was just looking at the roster and the starting 11 and everything. And I mean, we have to give him props, right? Our goalie, Lloris, we have to give him props. I mean, he steps up in big games. He went against, like Eric said, strikers, wingers that are worth 10 times the team, and he did great. I mean, he did his job. He had a couple of good saves that I saw. Yes. Got lucky on a couple, things like this. And I think he's going to be a big piece against Flamengo, more so than against Tunis. I hope he steps up against Flamengo. And, back to 2-3 years ago when we used to chat about our goalies and everything, if you're talking about the goalie, it's because the defense really sucked, right? It's because the other team is hitting you and hitting you and hitting you, and your team, our goalie come up with the MVP and everybody's praising him, but you're like, wait, but the defense sucked the whole game. This game, he really needed, he really showed out. He really came out. He helped out the team. It was good, but his big game is definitely going to be against Flamengo.
So real quick, Eric, let's try to live react to what's going on the screen here, because if you're an LAFC fan, this is exactly what you do not want to see right now. You have a team that is getting crushed, and it's represented by this green bar here activity, right? Against another that is just holding for dear life and have just really not allowed Flamengo to do what they should have been doing right now, which is scoring more goals and having clear chances. And if they were doing that, the goalkeeper would have been green by now, right? And he's not. He's yellow, as you can see it. So this is problematic for a team like LAFC, because they're going to get a Tunis team that is going to be extremely defensive against us and try to sneak one by us. It could happen, right? And then here comes Flamengo, which is going to go all out, as you can see there. There's zero activity from the Tunisian team on the offensive side of the ball. So, it gives me thrills. But can you read anything else into this game? I know you're watching it on the screen there. What comments do you have about Flamengo's performance so far?
Yeah. Flamengo, number one, Flamengo is pretty much coming out with their best 11. There's maybe one or two players arguably, but basically this is their full strength lineup. They're ready. This lineup is here to put in goals,
even
and
the new guy,
goal differential. And if I was Flamengo's coach, I would look at this group and say, okay, Chelsea's probably going to win all 3 games. Maybe we can sneak one against Chelsea, but with the goal of advancing out of group stage, is that my best bet? So I think Flamengo's best bet is to play a strong lineup here, some rotation against Chelsea, and then a strong lineup against us, because Tunis, they'll handle no problem. We should also handle them no problem. But then it comes down to goal differential if it's a tiebreaker. If we can play a solid game against them and force a draw, then it comes down to tiebreaker. So they're going to go all out with this and try to rack it up. And then we're going to probably see their first team as well, as they try to, seal it into the elimination round.
They're a deep team, dude. Look, they got Bruno Henrique here.
Oh, I know.
Look at this bench, because if you look at the number of games that Brasileiro teams play, they require bigger rosters because they're playing like at a 2 times rate than we are. It's kind of insane. We complain about it. No, you see the problem, right? But
Yeah.
look at this bench. They have Bruno Henrique, which was an absolute monster and has been a starter for them for a very long time.
Oh yeah.
You got guys like Matias Vinha, which I think has Palmeiras background there.
Yeah.
And that's just
Everton
Cebolinha,
Cebolinha.
which is one of the great players. It's been kind of a disappointing guy since coming back, right? So, but this is the last game of the group for LAFC, and it's not gonna be easy. As you can see, they have a 71% possession right now against the Tunisian team. So we have to show up against the Tunisian team big time this weekend, and then hope for a tie here and come out of this group with 4 points. I don't know if it's enough, guys. I really don't know. I'm already like, I don't know if this is going to be possible. But Eric, before I go on from you, real quick, he said something about Hugo Lloris, and there was commentary today, or this week, that he may not return next year. He's not even sure if he's going to keep playing. So any reason to even talk about this right now, right? He's playing great. I like who we have behind him. So are you ready for something like him leaving next year?
Whatever, he's kind of in the position that Chiellini was,
Yes.
like if he's going to stay another year, we'll be happy he's here another year. If he retires at 40 or something like that, it's a great long career. It was really nice to have him for a couple of years, and even you can see he has a lot more leadership in the back. Like he was controlling whether they would try to make a quick counterattack when he got the ball, or whether he'd hold them up for them to play a little possession, try to rest a little bit, He clearly did a lot in directing the flow of the game, and that was nice to see a player of his level. And, he was the captain of the French World Cup team as well. So that leadership is in him. He led a team to win the World Cup. So it's a lot of leadership to have. And so seeing him be vocal, but he's a professional too. He was the new guy here. You can't show up as the new guy and take everything over. It's over time. He was on the French national team for how many years until he took over the captain armband, and we're not even talking about captain, but he feels confident enough now, and the players respect him enough that he can start being the maestro a little bit back there, and has done nothing but benefit our defense and midfield.
So the question then it remains, and I posted that on my X feed, which was, we have David Ochoa, which is a great backup and has had a great MLS career. Do you give him a chance next year and maybe he becomes the greatest MLS comeback player of 2026? Fernando.
Oh, yeah.
It would be
because he also has Mexican roots a little bit. So
that would be a story, right? Because everybody really loved Ochoa. Again, lack of development, lack of trust. We had half a season where every other game was a different goalie, right? It's been good with Lloris this year. Hopefully he finishes off the season. This is MLS, and you guys know that I'm a big critic of the MLS when it comes to specifically the goalie part, because the MLS teams don't really spend money on good goalies, right? And it's a shame because universities are producing pretty good goalies. And we see that there are a lot of young goalies in Central America and Mexico that could come up. Ochoa coming back, we already know it's going to be a restructuring year next year, right, under a new coach. Why not? Why not bring in a young goalie with a good coach for 2-3 years, develop them, get us a really good, homegrown kind of, deal, because he'd be coming back to the team. Kind of goalie that the fans can rally behind once again, like Cisniega and everyone back again back in pre-2020. And we do need a goalie. We need a good goalie. If we're not going to be spending money on these defenders and these center backs, everything, we need a good goalie.
That's my point. I think Ochoa's excellent, and to get a veteran, it's, unless the next Lloris is about to retire and you can get him. Eric, I'll ask you the same question. what do you do about our goalkeeper position, knowing that this guy may not come back? Like, do you bring anybody? Do you give Ochoa a little bit more space? Or is this something we have to even worry about it right now?
I mean, yeah, it's a bit of an abstract question for another day, but since
he was on the news talking about
yeah,
maybe retiring, so I think the team shouldn't wait till the last minute, right? That's why I'm bringing it up in our show. But
yeah, all right, fair enough. Ochoa is a backup. He had a great year, but he had a crazy attitude, and I think that was one of the big digs against him. And he seems to have been humbled out, and he definitely
was
had
the one bringing Giroud's shirt today. Did you see that?
Yeah,
that's what a good rookie will do. Hey, rookie, go get my jersey. He's like,
oh, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Eric.
No, I mean he's got this talent to do it, and maybe working with. I mean, he's had Lloris. He's been working as an understudy to Lloris now for 2 years, right? He came on board with us last season, so 2 years. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's just, has he developed enough that we can be comfortable with him back there doing what he needs? And if not, then you see who's coming up in the goalie market. There's always guys who would love a trip in Los Angeles, and you don't want to overpay for somebody coming here. Just like Lloris, we got a huge deal on him just because he wanted to be here. So if you get something like that, you go with it. And if you don't, Ochoa is a suitable plan B that maybe can develop into something great. I mean, We are a big club. We have big ambitions. So it's like.
Yeah, I know. But look, I disagree. I think we won with Johnny Mack. You could probably win with anybody as long as you have good players in front of him. So every goalkeeper that's played at LAFC has played better than they're currently playing. That goes for Maxime Crépeau, John McCarthy, you name it, man. They get out of LAFC, they fall in their production. So our goalkeeper, in clinic here has been excellent under Oka. Shouts out to them, and I think Lloris even started rocky, now playing really well again. A guy that was not playing significant minutes in EPL and now is back. So. And that's what's going on, guys. I mean,
Jamal Blackman, he was a worse goalie with us than he was.
Well, he was brought in a fire sale to a defense that was porous,
right?
It was bad, and he still continues to struggle.
No,
our scouting has really has improved.
Fernando, I'm being a smart.
Yeah, no, sorry. My daughter keeps coming up from behind the computer.
Oh, mine too. It's fine. This is a kid. It was Father's Day,
right?
So we'll give it the one that she likes to put the hand up, and that's okay. No big deal.
I mean, but I don't see LAFC spending big bucks on a goalie for next year. I just can't. I just can't see it. And like Eric says, do we need a big name goalie, a 30-year-old experienced goalie that's going to last 5 or 6 years? That's not LAFC, right? That's not. I mean, let's not break the model. Why are we, expecting more from JT when the last 8 years it hasn't been the thing? So yeah, I think Ochoa would be the logical game forward. Let's hope that he's matured and that he's got a great coaching behind him. And the next coach, in Europe, you have this thing where the new coach comes in and he cleans house, right? In MLS, really, this is the team you got. This is what you're going to get. Can you work on it? Stick to it. So if JT decides to go and stick with Ochoa, that's what the next coach is going to have to do. And let's hope he's a good coach and develops Ochoa.
Yeah, no, I like it because I think we let too many guys go too easily, and if Lloris is not going to be here, you might as well let this dude, get a crack at it. He was a starter in this league, so it's not like LAFC is going too far. Then you can really focus your efforts in other positions. I guess at least that's how I see it. But look, 4 days. And you're back on the field, Eric. It's not a lot of time to turn things around. So what does LAFC do from now? And what kind of team should we see against the Tunisian side, given that you're going to have to play against Flamengo on the last game? So is it time to rotate the squad a little bit? What do you think you see here from the team in the next game in terms of rotation?
LAFC is not deep enough to rotate in these games. Pretty much they have to roll the best 11 guys they have and these guys are going to play every four games until the wheels fall off. That's that if we're going to get out of the group, we have to get a good result against Tunisia and a good result against Flamengo, and there's no rotating your way into that result.
Oh man, I disagree. I think Yeboah could start. It doesn't mean the other guys are not going to play, but I think that Smoliakov should get minutes against Tunisia, the Tunisian team. Esperance, I should say it the right way. I feel like you could certainly make some insertions in that lineup, Fernando, to still kind of come up on top, look different, and not just give up that you're going to look exactly the same for 270 minutes. That is my frustration sometimes with LAFC. Do you agree with Eric, or do you agree more with me that maybe we should experience some things against the Tunisian side?
This is the do or die game against Tunisia. I mean, if we had pulled off the 1-1, 2-2 draw against Chelsea, you could experiment against Tunisia, but we didn't. LAFC didn't. This is the do or die game. It's a must win and convincing win because the goal difference matters, right? So for me, the change, because Ordaz, you need to start Javiro. He's the experienced guy. He's fit. He's got strong legs. You start him. You make that change. What other change do you make in the background? I wouldn't go for any major changes in the middle. Tillman, he had an okay game. He could have a really good game against Tunisia. Jesus, you definitely can't rest them or nothing. Again,
maybe
this is your do or die,
which we saw before. That's
right. This is your do or die. This is your do or die game. You need the 3 points, and you need a convincing win because of the goal difference. That's it. If you draw against Tunis, that's it. You're done. You're done. You're done. So Dolo can't experiment too much on the 11. I understand what you're saying. Give the next team a different look, but that's all you got, Celso. That's all you got. What you put out against Chelsea today, that's what you got. Now you got to replace Ordaz, but that's just moving everybody to the left a little, right? Or to the
Javiro should be the guy, right? So Javiro should be the guy, and Giroud should be the guy. So it's like 1-1, and I'm glad you made that move, right? Because now you have this extra attacker. You don't have to
timing.
I'd start Giroud. I'd start Giroud
as well. Yeah.
No.
But the super sub aspect of Giroud has helped him. So I don't want to disrupt that. And as Ebobis, that's where I get mad at the coaching staff more than at the player, because when I look at Ebobis and I've questioned this, and I'm like, what's your role? What are you doing that maybe another midfielder should be doing? A carrying player, right? So I would just start Martinez in that position and down him to a 10 versus put him in between the center forwards, right? I just don't understand why we have to be married to the 4-3-3. That is my frustration with how we come out every time, no matter who we put out there. To be very honest, guys, it's always the same. So it's hard, and if my prediction is correct.
If we don't play the 4-3-3, then we can play the 3-4-3 also.
Or just 4-3-1-2, man. Like, all I'm saying is just like make the one of them into a 10, and then widen your guys out, and then have your midfield play compact in a different manner.
If you don't practice,
that opens up other roles, other runs.
If you don't practice that, how could you play that in a tournament? In a game,
a little too late, right?
Right. What you just mentioned,
FIFA soccer. I get it.
What you just mentioned. Look at the last 15 games, and you tell me what different formation worked out for, because you have the same players. What different formation worked out for LAFC in the last 15 games, right? He's predictable. That's what he plays. That's what he goes for. That's what he's got off the bench, right? And again, you need to build in the tournament. You need the players to build confidence after each game. If you do what Carlos Osorio did with the Mexican team during the World Cup, that's the recipe for failure, because you're telling your players, I don't trust you, or you're telling the players directly to their face, you played like crap last game. I don't trust you playing against this other team. So it has that whole confidence thing and the whole momentum where you're already missing Ordaz. Don't mess with it because these guys already have good momentum. You said it. Buanga had good passes. Tillman did good things, but they just didn't produce. They didn't finish off the play.
So we got the game at halftime now, Eric, and this is what I predicted. Flamengo, as you can see, the momentum, all Flamengo the whole half, but not a lot of chances. This Tunisian team can defend, and they're going to come in here and defend, try to frustrate LAFC and catch us in a bad play. Eric, let's start breaking down this next game we have. Given that we have Esperance playing right now, we have this really good opportunity to break this down for this next game. Fuck Chelsea, we would have lost anyways. Who cares? Let's not break this puppy down.
Yeah, no, there's so I kind of
what do we do here, bud?
Well, here's the thing. We're talking about our 4 games and rotating, but Esperance de Tunis also has to play 4 games on us as well. And are they going to rotate their squad against us so they have their best team out against Chelsea in their last game? I think this could be a bit of a factor. I don't know enough about their squad to know who they're rotating when they're rotating, but I would assume they have their best team out today. So they might rotate a couple guys so they keep their best players fresh for Chelsea as well, because I think Tunis is playing this tournament basically just to not get embarrassed. Which, I think they're going into it knowing every single game we're an underdog. They're the one team in an MLS group that the MLS team, we're a better team than Tunis, across the board.
I think so.
No, we are. They're underdogs.
They're odds. The World Cup mentality and the World Cup mathematics. This is a 1-0 against Flamengo, against a Brazilian team.
Yeah.
If Esperanza, if Tunis manages the 1-1, right? Let's say manages the 1-1. Wow. Again, the match against LAFC is a do or die match. I mean, if you're Tunis, you got a chance at 4 points. You're going to go all out, right? I don't see a Tunis, even if they lose this match, I don't see Tunis falling back to wait for LAFC, because anybody that watches LAFC knows you hit LAFC hard at the beginning, first 20, 25 minutes. You take them down 1-0, it's very hard to come back, right? It's hard to come back in the second half. Again, tired. Tunisia, they're going to play hard ball. I mean, we got lucky Chelsea didn't play European ball and start throwing people around, right? Because they didn't want to get any yellow cards themselves. But Tunisia, they can go play real rough.
They are right now, you could tell.
Right. Yeah, no, AFCON is a physical league.
Right. And we can't afford any more injuries. We can't afford any more injuries. And we can't afford players to get hot-headed and get a red card, because then Flamengo comes in, and we definitely don't need a patched-up team against Flamengo, right? So this is where when we follow a World Cup, our mathematics and our scenarios start kicking in the first kickoff, And I just think the next game, the LAFC Tunis, is a do or die game for both teams. Those 2 teams need the 3 points. They cannot afford to draw against each other. One of those teams needs the 3 points because, like you said, Chelsea, another loss for Tunis. You're hoping for Chelsea to beat Flamengo. It's LAFC. You're hoping to at least draw against Flamengo, get lucky and win 2-1, 1-0. Etc. For me, the next game is really, I see it as from the beginning, since they qualified. I see the game against Tunis as the key match for LAFC. Do or die. 3 points or goodbye.
Yeah, no, 100%. 3 points or goodbye, and they should be able to get the 3 points. It's interesting. Both teams playing a 4-2-3-1. I like that style. And that's all I'm saying. Make your third player in the midfield more like a 10. Play with that. But I agree with you guys. Too late now to install something that hasn't been practiced at all. So you stick with the best thing you can do. And we had a lot of positives from today, and hopefully Denis can find the back of the net a couple of times against a tired Tunisian team. They're giving Flamengo all they can. not to be embarrassed, and only losing 1-0, picked up 2 yellow cards, it looks like. And that's that game. Eric, before we get out of here, I just want your we started talking a little bit about this, but I just want your overall feeling about the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup. So many crazy negative news. You got socioeconomic things going on in the United States. Attendance being questioned. So, inside of everything, right? A good tournament so far. I know you've been happy with the soccer.
Yeah, man. Yeah. San Dimas High School football rules. No. But nobody was going to get that movie reference. But yeah, I've been super happy with this tournament. I was talking today. I've sat through and watched 3 games of the tournament. The opener, the Miami versus Al Ali game. Yeah, that was I was sitting. My dad came and visited me, telling my stepmom we were watching, and they're not soccer fans. And my stepmom was like, "That was a great game," and I was like, "See, that's the thing. Like, there's exciting 0-0s and boring 0-0s, and that was an exciting 0-0. And right. And that's something I think a lot of people that don't pay much attention to the game don't appreciate. It's like, oh, soccer, there's 0-0s, but man, that 0-0 was great. The Palmeiras Porto, another great 0-0. Like, I mean, back and forth the whole way. Then you have the Bayern Munich bashing 10-0 of Auckland. And I mean, if you like to watch like that sort of thing, it was a great game. You get to watch 10
It happens
goals.
in the World Cup sometimes, where Germany just destroys Saudi Arabia like 7 or 8-0.
And then the PSG Atletico game, that was a blowout, but we saw a packed Rose Bowl for that game. So
yeah,
I think that
hot day.
I didn't really know what to expect with this Club World Cup coming in, but so I can't say that I really had any kind of expectations at all. But I thought it would be cool. But it's been great, really good games, and I find myself wanting to watch all kinds of games now on this. So yeah,
here's the thing.
Maybe you comment on that, and also the fact that what we also were saying earlier a little bit, which was, hey, just wait. It's like, hey, you're a Clipper fan. Go watch the Clippers on a Tuesday night in LA. It's going to be $20 a ticket, man. But when it's playoff, it's going to be a big freaking draw, and it's going to be expensive, right? So I think it's going to heat up more. Go ahead.
No, but we started talking about this before we came on live. And so I've been looking at it the same way that Eric and you mentioned, with all this economy and everything, the visas. I thought the visas were going to be an issue, right? Because you literally have to apply. Nowadays, you apply for a visa for like 6 months ahead, right? All of this. But interesting enough, after the PSG game with 80,000, claiming that there were 80,600 seat attendees, right? Not tickets sold, but attendees, because they're giving away freaking tickets everywhere, right? 80,619 was the official attendance at the PSG game. So I started a thread on that. The lowest attendance right now has been the Bayern Auckland with 21,000, and the LAFC was 22,000. So, I mean, the Palmeiras with 46,000. Right. So this is the typical, MLS, right? 20,000, mid-20s, right? That's the typical. What is helping is the ticket prices, like you said, but also keep in mind, you're having Copa Oro at the same time. So, people that got lucky.
And MLS and NWSL as well.
Copa Oro is all Central America, basically, coming in here, right? And the visas and everything is difficult. The stadiums are empty. The game in Saudi Arabia was empty. But to see this dynamic this month, these 30 days where you do have, MLS doesn't stop. I don't know why. I mean, I'm being sarcastic here. We know why. But you have a major event like the FIFA Club World Cup and the Copa Oro, which is important to CONCA, right? And that the Hispanic, the Latino community in the U.S. is a major pillar of MLS attendance, and if you're being given a choice between Dominica and Suriname or PSG and Atletico, you're going to go and spend your money on the PSG game, right? and so it is going to be the second phase is going to be interesting for the FIFA World Cup because of the distances, the stadia that are going to be used, and the prices. I doubt that FIFA is going to do the same thing with the tickets for the second starting the second stage, and that's really going to be an economics issue, right? That's really going to be like, can $20,000 fans really afford $120, $150 tickets for multiple games? That's going to be the test.
20K. Yeah, no, that's the tough because you should have done the packages.
It
Like,
depends.
I already got
It
my
depends
packages
what
for
fan.
Brazil next year. You know what I mean? I have a package. It's 4 games. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah,
we get out.
he's right on that. It's interesting. We kind of talked about before because I know all three of us we've watched what is now the Intercontinental Cup, which is what used to be the Club World Cup before, and so
Which
like
will continue a year's end. It will not go
yes,
away. It just continue to be its own side thing. It's
but
crazy.
we
I
know
was like, what? Anyways, go
yeah,
ahead.
no, yeah, it's still going. But for the South American teams in particular,
Plays the
like
UEFA and
we
the
watch
AFCON.
those fans travel to the Middle East and take over stadiums there, and they're doing the
Yes.
same thing here. And this tournament is such a big deal to the
Correct.
CONMEBOL teams because it's
Correct.
like it's their chance to like
Yeah.
stick it to like the UEFA teams, and like and
Absolutely.
they have a
Big
marginal
bragging
fraction.
rights there.
Yeah,
Also
so
coincides with this with the winter vacation there, which they're known, like Brazilians are known to mass travel to New York, Orlando, and Miami. So you do get the Brazilian money. Like they will go to a game. They will
yeah.
follow. You saw the beautiful views of Palmeiras taking over, singing whatever the hell they were singing. Not my cup of tea, but sure. It was pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah.
But
If,
I
if the
think
Brazilian
saying that they're
if,
gonna beat the soul. I'm sorry, Eric. Say you're gonna beat the soul of the tournament. It's a little bit far fetched for me.
all I'm saying is, as to Fernando's point, when the Brazilians or Boca or the South American teams go through, those tickets are going to get sold. Like there's
Correct.
no question.
Well, what's not coming, and I think where the disappointment will end up being, is that the European dollar didn't come to watch their teams here. They likely will still see this tournament as a big preseason for them because A, they're going to roll through everybody, and B, they're not going to come to the United States right now to watch a team play that they can play at all times, right? And I think that's where the value is. But we have nothing to do with that. We have absolutely nothing to do with that. Domestic fans need to show up, and then supporters of their clubs need to show up. But I get it that the European dollar is not going to come here, but they will come next year for the countries. I guarantee you.
You know what's funny to me is like a lot of the American soccer fans that seem like too cool to watch MLS, they're like too cool to watch this tournament now also. I think because MLS is in it. It's kind of weird, or I'm just being super judgmental.
No, you're not.
But,
Or they're there to see how bad the league's going to fail, which
yeah,
it's all like
they're
so
hate
bad. Like, I
watching
know
MLS.
it gets clicks,
But
but
at the end of the day, these games have been so entertaining. It's
they
almost
have
like
been really
they've
good.
just been fun.
Right. But the
I
fact that
thought
PSG
LAFC gave a really good, valiant mental hell to Chelsea today.
Right,
If there was any glass half full out of this game.
No, and the European teams did come loaded, right? I mean, there was no disrespect. There was no disrespect, right?
Correct.
But we're lucky that the Nations League is also over, right? In Europe, it was done, so it allowed for the teams to have the full squads almost. There's a break in UEFA, not in MLS. I mean, it's just the economics on these World Cups is just so difficult to measure. Number one, because like you said, Eric, this is the first expanded World Cup, right? Before, the Europeans only had to go to 2 games in Dubai or Qatar, right? Now they have to go to 3, 5, 6 matches to get to the final. Will the Europeans, will the PSG, Chelsea, Atletico fans show up in the second stage, and start coming over for the 3 remaining games? It still remains to be seen. The situation here in the U.S. is not going to get any better in the next week or so. It's just, getting hotter and hotter. Do people We already saw that Mexico had to move around because of their games in LA. I mean, they did have a really good turnout. We have to wait until the Mexican teams start to play, Pachuca and Monterrey, and see what we see there in attendance. But these economics are always bad. Like I said, I'm surprised. I'm going to say this. I'm surprised that the attendance is in the mid-20s, 20,000.
Yeah.
You know?
By the way, should have you done it all in soccer-specific stadiums with a couple of UNC, which seats about. I saw they have a couple games at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, great crowd. Not somewhere you would think to put a game, right? But these NFL behemoths are being criticized. Palmeiras does not like MetLife, for example. They do not like the grass there. And you have this feeling that the teams are in this massive place like we saw today at Mercedes-Benz. But should you put that game at our house? It would have looked awesome on TV. 25K is a worthy crowd for a soccer game on a Monday noon, man. You know what I mean? They should have given us that game. At least that they go to Atlanta to showcase the venue, which is gorgeous. But I don't see, you know what I mean? It's not about the venue, guys. It's about the fucking team.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Why did we not get a home game?
The FIFA rationale in choosing, we know why the U.S. proposed. We know why the U.S. proposed those stadiums. We know that the group that runs these special events here in the U.S. is going to favor these huge things, but really FIFA. We're seeing that FIFA really had no brain into this and didn't say, wait a minute, Atlanta is humongous. I mean, there were 20,000 people in a 70,000 seat stadium. Why? And it's
what's the point of watching one game, right? That's the other.
Well, they did
thing.
go over it with grass for this one.
They did.
They did. They did.
They
some venues they did install grass. They did install grass in a couple of them. But I don't really care about grass, no grass, because they didn't do it in Seattle. So who gives a shit? They're not doing it everywhere. So it's like random, right? Again, the surface
FIFA
talk,
really.
I'm over it. Because
FIFA
we have 4 years to
really
figure this shit out.
Yeah, FIFA really needed to put a little bit more brains into the stadiums for here, the distances, everything. Traveling from LA to New York, from Seattle to Orlando, it's like flying across the entire European continent, right?
Yeah.
And the cost. We don't have Ryanair. We don't have $60 freaking flight.
Right. Yeah. We can't get the Greyhound. Like you do not go to Greyhound. Right. Scary.
Right.
And something bad could happen.
We love our cars, and they are cheap outside of LAX. The car rentals are cheap, but people don't want to be driving around from Florida to New York. So it's really, the economics are kind of surprising me. I'm with Eric. I want to see the second stage. I want to see how that flows, and that's really going to tell us what the economics for this tournament is really like.
Yeah. The one thing is for sure we're gonna get out of here. It's just I love talking about the business of soccer, and we didn't have a lot of times to do it. So I appreciate.
We gotta wait till it's done to really go, because like what happens late stages when you have like the semifinal of like Chelsea versus PSG, and then you have like Atletico Madrid versus Inter Milan,
right. They should have done a much better job selling to the
then look at
teams
what
that
the
were
attendance looks like, because that's when it's going to start heating up.
It's not our job as an American to put butts in seats of a game of a team that comes from another country. You have to put some sales in your country so that they can come here and watch the fucking games and then go to the hotels, right? And spend money in our hotels. Not us that have to fucking work on a Monday at noon. It's awesome that some of us can do it, but you think about that because we are in the fucking tournament.
And this is the guy. This is the guy wearing
Atlanta United. No, Eric. Why wouldn't Atlanta United?
No, I want to hear Fernando, and then I'll tell you.
Go spend money in this tournament.
This is from the guy that's wearing the Expedia logo the entire show. You better get some advertising after this one.
Brought to you by Expedia.
No, and then Celso, I'm going to tell you this. It's not getting them over here or putting us in there. It's getting all of us to bid up these ticket prices. Because for an American, when do you get to see Atletico Madrid and Chelsea play a game with a trophy on the line without going to Europe?
But it's a trophy that was come on, Eric. Come in. I get your point.
Also, the Mundial means something to a lot of clubs.
Do you think it will mean a lot to Atletico Madrid if they win it?
No, the European teams it usually doesn't mean as much to.
They
but
couldn't give two shits.
But the European teams have always been them versus a South American team for it. It's a different competition. Now when you get some of those giants that clash, because they have a history with each other, especially when you get to the Champions League level teams, like they start to have a history, if Bayern Munich plays Chelsea, like it's going to be, I don't think their fans are going to be like, whatever, that tournament's stupid. Whoever loses, I don't think that's going to happen.
CONMEBOL loves us because, like when the money comes here, it's ×5 and they can expose their product to a different market that don't get any eyeballs here. So of course they fucking love it. But it doesn't help our teams at all when all these clubs come over here in the summer. Why does MLS keep playing? Because it doesn't help the Colorado Rapids that Atletico Madrid is coming here out of their market to play at the Rose Bowl, bro. I don't care. You know what I mean? That is still a tour around the world. If we were serious about these tournaments, we would do it across the calendar and travel and do it home and away, home and away, home and away. We get together during FIFA breaks. We make it happen. Not this 1 month thing that we're hosting for the first time. And it's exciting, but I don't think it validates the meaning of it. It's still not the World Cup to me. The World Cup next year is always going to be just one.
Right. But Celso,
you can't replicate that. It's hard to do it.
This is the thing, and I know we're not getting into a whole discussion on economics, but this is
I'm
FIFA's
getting worked up. I shouldn't even.
FIFA is making so much money from this tournament. I'm serious. It's
I hope they are.
You have to look at the last 3-4 World Cups and see how much money FIFA has lost. And just in the advertising and TV profits, humongous. And that's why they wanted to do it the first time here in the U.S. in order to milk that. This is their cow for the next 10 years, basically. Yeah. Because guess where are you going to put this show again in 4 years? What other country can handle this in 4 years?
I would think South America, if they want to follow
one country,
because they're going to have the next World Cup, right?
You know what I think they'll do? It's going to be wherever the next World Cup host country is. They'll host this tournament there.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's in South America, right? Between
3 countries are hosting next.
Yeah.
Right, in South America. So it might follow suit there. But look, guys, it's been good. I could talk to y'all about this stuff for hours. I mean, I wish we could. I know it's getting late I don't even know if Fernando is.
I'm surprised
it's
it's
somewhere
1-0.
warm and cozy.
Yeah. It's still 1-0. This game is.
Yeah. We're still 1-0 here.
Come on, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0.
But worse than that is the fact that now, as I mentioned earlier on the show, this is what LAFC's future looks like. You're going to have a team that's going to put 10 behind the ball and attack us at every time they can. And they're going to have probably an easier way moving the ball than they are having against Flamengo. So I don't expect it all to be green when LAFC faces them. And then after that, you get these guys, which are putting up a clinic, at least of possession and offensive load against the Tunisian team. And that's how you try to get out of this tournament before coming home. So, man, it is a very tall order. Before we get out, Eric, your score prediction for LAFC Esperance Tunis.
3-0.
All right. What about you, Fernando?
That would be the ideal. Based on this score right now, 1-0, the 3-0 score winning LAFC would be perfect for LAFC. Literally, would be, perfect for LAFC. I see a 2-1. I see a 2-1 based on, the way Tunis is playing today. I still see LAFC winning those 3 points. I am 80% hopeful that LAFC can pull off the 3 points in that game. It's a do or die. But based on the way that Tunis is playing against Flamengo, a 2-1 would be a realistic, final score.
That's how I'm seeing. I think it's gonna be tight, and we're not gonna have an easier time moving the ball against these guys. They might get us catch us sleeping. But I'm confident in this game. It's an MLS stadium that we're going into. I have no idea what kind of crowd we're going to see it, but shout out to those who were in Atlanta today. I heard it loud. The 3252 did its job. So I have to register that.
They did.
And if you don't make it to the Friday game, it's understandable. Now, if you are and you're looking for tickets, DM me and I'll get you tickets for that game because A, they're cheap, and if that's the only deterrent, I have some that I bought that I'm not going to be using it, and I'm happy to help you out there if you are going to that game. They're pretty good tickets, actually. I wish I could go, but I'm not going to be able to. But more stuff coming next week. We'll have a really special guest that will be helping us break down the Flamengo game. He's a former Brazilian player, believe it or not, that played for Flamengo a little bit. So he's from LA, so he's got great insights about a lot of different topics, including CONMEBOL and his experience there in this tournament. Should be a fun show. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. It's still the best place for us. You can comment, and it really helps us out. We put some of our shorts there as well. And, if you are a Twitter X-man, keep us following, keep us there. It's still on my feed. Save us a little bit of money. And to be honest, we can't get it to work. So it is what it is. I want to thank Fernando for being here with us once again, taking a break from his vacation and talking about the Chelsea game. Eric, thank you very much, sir, for being here. I know you've been doing a lot of different podcasts, buddy. Keep it up. Like, I love that you're active out there. You're the voice of LAFC in several places. Where did people see you? Where were you today? Are you at Happy Foot? Where are some of the places that people see you, man?
Yeah, no. Happy Foot, Sad Foot guys, man. Those guys, they're super cool. They'll ask me to come on more and more frequently, man. So it's a super fun show. So it's nice to be there. And then also the Battered MLS Fans is another one I go on quite a bit.
I went in there with the LAFC podcast account to just banter them up a little bit.
Yeah,
make fun, but they're all in good spirit.
Shit posting,
all in good spirit. But it is what it is, guys. It's been great. Thank you so much for your time as usual on a Monday. And wherever you are, let's watch the NBA Finals, man. It's Oklahoma City. Come on, Eric, you gotta be a fan now, man. It's your NBA team.
I'm watching Flamengo Esperanza.
What's going on? Yeah, that's it. That's the true soccer fan there. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
See you guys. Good night.
Peace out.
See you guys. Thanks for having me.
LA is black and gold, baby. Let's go.